What's up, everyone? Shaquille Mahjoudi here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. She is the UFC's number 4th ranked women's flyweight contender, fighting Maycee Barber in the main event of UFC Vegas 107 this Saturday. Erin Blanchfield, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're trucking along late into my day. Before we get to Maycee Barber and the women's flyweight division, I'm hoping you're going to ride on my team here, but I guess we'll find out. Agree or disagree? Fall pumpkin spice lattes, a little overrated. The summer cold brew, way too underappreciated.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I love a summer cold brew.
Okay, but I know, are you a PSL girl? Because I know you're into the shopping and some of the cliche girly stuff. Where do you fall on this one?
Do you like it? I'm not obsessed with it though.
Okay.
I think it'd be a little overbearing sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Such a reasonable take. My wife would hard disagree, but there's many other reasons I love her. Maybe not that one. Let's look at Macy. Interesting case. I'm always a little concerned when a young fighter comes into the sport and starts proclaiming that they are going to break John Jones's record and be the youngest champion. It's a lot of pressure to put on oneself. I worry sometimes maybe that comes at the expense of the right sort of way to progress and evolve as a young fighter. But here she is after a couple of setbacks, built herself a nice winning streak and sort of now re-entering the title conversation. In your opinion, who is Maycee Barber in 2025?
Kind of like what you said. I think she's kind of reevaluated and tried to like elevate her game to be in a position to fight for a title. Maybe less rushing and more like focusing on fight to fight.
One thing I gotta say, Macy is not shy of speaking her mind. She did do an interview with Ariel Helwani recently. I'm sure you've been asked about this. She called your fight style boring. She thinks that Rose deserved the nod over you in your fight with her. What is your sort of impulse reaction?
Yeah, I feel like she calls anyone she doesn't want to fight boring. Because I remember when me and Manon were gonna fight, she called both of us boring, but she's denied fights against both of us, or like pulled out of the fight with me and denied a fight with Manon. So I think it's just her way of maybe throwing some jabs at people she's, I don't know, jealous of.
What component of your evolution, now we talked about Barbers, of your evolution are you sort of most looking to put into practice on fight night this weekend?
I've been working a lot on my striking, trying to, stay tighter and just get everything like leveled up with that. So I feel like I want to show that off Saturday.
What sort of opportunities do you think fighting Barber presents for you?
I think it gives me a chance to, show off everything I've been learning. I feel like I try to utilize like every fight for that, like really try to show like my growth as a fighter. And that's what I plan to do Saturday.
You know, seeing a face on a poster is no small accomplishment in the UFC, but I gotta say, we're only going to be 7 days removed from a UFC pay-per-view in your backyard of New Jersey. Why is it we ended up here? Did you have any aspirations to make it happen in your home state?
I'm not sure. When I first got offered this fight, it was a while back. I want to say like January, so I didn't even know that there was the UFC Newark like the following weekend. Um, but I love main events. I love having 5 rounds and having that experience. So even though it's sad I didn't get to fight in Jersey, I think it's worth it.
How do you feel about this? Is actually like when I always put out a fan Q&A, and a lot of people are sort of debating in the comments where there's this sort of sense that this fight isn't getting the promotion it deserves, considering there are two top 5 women's flyweights on the verge of title contention. How do you feel about sort of how much emphasis there's been put on this card?
I feel like for me, I feel like I've seen the promotion for it. I know they're doing like a UFC journey on us. And yeah, I think sometimes fight nights can kind of fly under the radar a little bit because they're not a pay-per-view, so they're not as like flashy, but I think the fights will speak for them.
Yeah, well, and I mean, when you have like almost a fight every week, I feel like
Yeah.
it doesn't help with our attention spans in general. No, at no fault of any one event or any one fighters. I'm assuming you watched the Shevchenko Fior fight.
Yes, I have.
All right. Were you able to take any lessons from that or make any assessments off that fight that might benefit you come fight night that you're willing to share? Or sorry, that might benefit you in a future title shot that you're willing to share?
Yeah, I think Valentina did a really good job in that fight. She maintained the distance really well. She was countering really well. It's stuff that I've been trying to get better at myself, but it was nice being able to watch her do that and, almost like mimic that or try to put that into my game.
What is it people are getting most wrong about what Zhang Weili might look like at women's flyweight?
I think they're just underestimating the size difference between like strawweights and flyweights, especially like Weili's is on the shorter side for strawweight. Like I've seen her in person, so I know she's a pretty small girl. She might be able to like make the weight for like flyweight because I know she's like short and like she's stocky, but I don't think people take the overall like size advantage into consideration.
I know that's obviously a fight that people are discussing, whether the UFC makes it or not, who knows. I saw you propose that maybe a fight that makes sense for you after Maycee Barber is Natalia Silva, number one ranked contender, just coming off a win over former champ Alexa Grasso. What does that fight between you and her look like?
I feel like that'd be another opportunity to like work my striking and like be able to kind of, I guess, make the adjustments that I didn't make in the Manon fight because I feel like their styles are pretty similar, like counter like strikers and a lot of movement. So I would try to fix the mistakes that I made in that fight.
Okay. We're seeing this like really exciting turnover at welterweight. I feel like where Jack Della Maddalena is now champ. You have Shavkat. You have Ian Gary. Sean Brady, all these guys on the rise. It's sort of like the antithesis of what happened at lightweight, where I feel like the Oliveras and the Gaethjes and Makhachevs of the world, even Poirier, are kind of just like keeping the new contenders back. Where do you think we're at women's flyweight? Shevchenko's still the champ. It was a relatively close fight against Fior. Do you see like how long do you think before the Erins and the Natalias of the world like officially take over and push the old guard out?
Cool. I feel like that's a pretty good question. I feel like if she does fight, like let's say Valentina fights Silva next, I think Valentina wins that. And then I think if I don't know if I'll even have a fight between them if I like win Saturday and then being able to fight for a title. I plan on like winning that fight. So I think it would be relatively soon, but I know Valentina doesn't plan on going anywhere. So I guess we'll just see how those fights go.
Okay, so would you take let's say Weili doesn't come up, they book Shevchenko versus Silva, you win this fight. Are you prepared to take that much time off if it means that you get the next title shot?
I mean, I could. I prefer not to. I like staying busy. I like getting that experience, especially being a younger fighter. I don't want to be sitting out that long. I'd rather build my experience.
I like it. Backup title fight. Is that something that are you willing to make that cut and do that stuff? I know it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, I would be willing to do that.
Okay.
That's something I'd be interested in.
I like it. Erin Blanchfield keeping the options open. And I mean, I feel like so much of the matchmaking these days comes down to, like you said, who's available when. So who's to say we don't get Valentina versus Blanchfield next? I want to let you have the last word, Erin. So very quickly, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Subscribe, tap the bell, thumbs up, give us your official prediction. Erin Blanchfield, Maycee Barber, the main event of UFC Vegas 107 on Saturday. Erin, if there's anything you want to tell the people, the floor is yours.
Yeah, just thank you for all the support and I love you guys. Thank you.